Hi everybody, I wanted to make a video to kind of walk you through the annotated bibliography assignment. So I'm in the folder that contains the annotated bibliography assignment and all the supporting information. I wanted to point out that I did put together sort of a little post with some notes about the annotated bibliography, and then some sort of a checklist or some tips for doing it well. So you may want to go back and sort of use this as a check sheet to make sure that you've done everything correctly for the annotated bibliography. I'm also going to go over it in the video, and then I've posted some other things like student samples and other resources that you can use for the assignment. So there's a whole folder that contains the annotated bibliography assignment, some videos, some links, and some other information to help you with the annotated bibliography assignment. So at the top here, I have included two handouts. One is longer than the other, and one is just more condensed. So the one I'm going to concentrate on in this video has a lot more information in it. That's the first one here, and then the second one is just sort of more of an overview that you can go back and reference. I also included a very short video that's just sort of a cartoon that you can watch as a quick reference if something I said doesn't quite resonate with you, or if you just want to go back and watch it later. It's there just as something extra. I also have a worksheet in this folder. I'm not taking this worksheet up for a grade, but it may help you organize the information for your annotated bibliography, so you're welcome to use it, but it's not an assignment. I've also put in some student samples. One of the things I wanted to bring up about student samples is annotated bibliographies can be created in a lot of different environments and a lot of different classes using different formatting methods. So in this class, we're going to use APA for all of the assignments that we do. You may see some MLA assignments maybe that were done in an English 111 class. My English 111 students do a short assignment for an annotated bibliography. But when you look at the student samples, just concentrate on the formatting of the citations, like how they look, and then kind of read through the annotations, which are the paragraphs, to see how the students have phrased the summaries and phrased the other parts of the annotation paragraph. I may go back and add some more samples that are just purely APA, and I'll try to label those if I do. I did include a grading rubric just for your reference, some formatting information, and then because APA 7th edition has had some recent changes and it does require a title page, I included a video to help you with formatting the title page. So I'm going to go back, and I just want to go over this handout in particular with you, the one that I said has more information to it. Oh wait, I pulled up the short one. I'll just go over this really quickly. This is a very short overview of what an annotated bibliography looks like, and it's just more like a reference sheet than anything else. This is the one. I thought the other one came first, but this is the one I wanted to go over with you. Pop up for us. This one is more detailed. It has more information in it. So let me make it a little bigger for our reference so that you can see everything. So before we get started talking about the requirements for the assignment, it's always important to know what you're being asked to do. So to this point, you've done preliminary research and you've sort of dabbled in some scholarly research. And if you've watched the videos, you've seen some of the discussions about different ways to gather information. We did some social media inquiries, and I asked you to maybe watch some videos, some TED Talks. I just wanted you to explore your topic. So this is a research class, and most college classes have some kind of research associated with them, some kind of research project. Some classes have more than others. Some students plan to go transfer to a university, and in that case you would be doing more research at higher levels in your junior senior year at the university. Some of you may plan to go to graduate school, and there's a lot of research no matter what discipline you're in grad school. So an annotated bibliography is something that's very common when a student is working with research. A lot of times an annotated bibliography will accompany either a paper, like one research essay, or it will sort of serve as the foundation for a bigger research project. Most of the time, an annotated bibliography is an academic document that's turned in prior to those essays that follow using the research. It's a way for a student to communicate to the instructor, hey, here's where my research is right now. Here's how I've evaluated this research. I'm showing it to you to gain credibility with my research skills. It's kind of what an annotated bibliography is. It's sort of a preview as to what's to come in later assignments. However, you may have an instructor in the future that wants the annotated bibliography to follow a research project or research paper. There's not a right or wrong to it. Sometimes it's just how the instructor shapes the assignment or how they like to receive the information. In my case, I always ask for the annotated bibliography prior to the written assignments, because I like for a student to sort of have an understanding of what research is available prior to writing the actual essays associated with that research. I also like to be able to give the students some feedback about their research, and sometimes that helps them write better, or at least include the proper amount and scope of research that they need for the upcoming projects. So a lot of times an annotated bibliography is sort of just a report that you turn into the instructor to sort of show where things stand with the research at that point in the project. So to go through the meaning of what an annotated bibliography is, to annotate is to note. So you're just making notes about your research. And then a bibliography, that means the sources that are used. So you're just basically in this assignment, you're including notes about the sources from your research to this point. A lot of students will come back to me and say, oh, Ms. Austin, does this mean I don't do any more research? Different instructors handle it differently, but most of us understand that you're going to find additional research as you do additional assignments. After you do the annotated bibliography, you even yourself may realize, hey, I'm missing this component, or I need to do more in this area. I don't feel like I have enough to prove this point that I was trying to make. So to me, research is a fluid process, and you can certainly add to it as you go. This assignment is just to show me where you are right now. And then I'll also make comments back to you, and you may want to add to your research based on the comments I give you. So I want to go back through here a little bit and explain what goes into that paragraph. One of the things I wanted to point out to you is when you do an annotated bibliography, sometimes you're asked to do a whole page for the annotation, and it sometimes can feel like you're writing a whole essay for each source. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but I do want you to understand that some instructors may ask for more of an expanded noting of the research. If you're in grad school one day in the future, you may have to write longer annotations. At the undergraduate level, where you are now, beginning your college career, some instructors may ask for separate paragraphs. And if you go to Purdue OWL online, you may see some examples where they've shown 3 paragraphs. I personally just want 1 paragraph. I sort of like to keep it simple, and I just want you to show me the citation and the annotation, and I'll show you some examples in a minute how it will look on the page. Right now, I just want to talk to you about what goes into the annotation, and that's the noting of the research. So you're going to have 3 components. The first one is to summarize. When you summarize, you need to identify what the source is. So is it a website, a video, a blog, a journal, article? What is it? Like, you need to identify what it is. Then you want to give some summary information, such as maybe who published it, the authors involved in writing it, and then the main idea of the source. Like, what was the main purpose of this source? What did the source reveal about this topic? Next, you're going to analyze and evaluate. So in the analysis part, you're basically evaluating the contents of the source. What were some things that were proven? You can bring in credibility. What was credible about the source, because you're sort of evaluating it. Some people choose to give some background to the authors. That's not always available to you, and so I don't require you to do that, because not all articles actually give the backgrounds of the authors. If it's available and you want to include it in your analysis part of the annotation, you're welcome to do that. I also like to see some analysis of the contents of the article, meaning what's the kind of purpose, what was put in the core of this source that made it important to the research project. The summary part of the paragraph, if you're trying to think of like, how much do I need to write, I would say maybe 2 to 3 sentences for that part. And then when you get to the analysis and evaluation, probably about 2 to 3 sentences. The last part of the annotation is synthesis. So when we talk about synthesizing something, we're combining something. We're putting things together in a certain way, and we're evaluating how something connects. So in a way, when you synthesize something, you're kind of evaluating how it applies to the research project. So I've asked you to write a claim statement, and with the synthesis part of the annotation, you're trying to connect this to your research project and what you're trying to claim with this research. Be careful, do not use first person though. First person pronouns are I, me, we, us. So I'm not asking you to do any personal opinion, any personal reference. This should all be third person, either he, she, it, or the actual noun or pronoun that you want to use, but no first person reference. Honestly, in academic writing, you should avoid I believe, I think, in my opinion statements anyway, so this is a good place to start. I did include a short little example here, and there are many more samples available to you. Please note that this is single space because it's part of the worksheet, and you will be double spacing in your document. Also, recently with the APA 7th edition changes to formatting, they have opened up to new and varied fonts, but I do require Times New Roman. So make sure that your document is in Times New Roman, which this one is. So you have to do 10 sources for this annotated bibliography. You can include up to 2 interviews. So you did a personal interview with a professional. Some of you may have been lucky enough to find 2 people to interview, or you may want to go back and interview someone extra. And so you can include 2 personal interviews, and I do allow for 1 TED Talk or YouTube type video documentary type thing in your annotated sources. So you do have to have a total of 10. Please keep in mind, if you're like, oh, well, she said 10, but I'm sure she'll just take 5. Yes, I'll take 5, but that means you only have done half of the assignment, and you're only going to be eligible for about 50 points to start the grade. That means you start at a 50, and then whatever other deductions happen, they come from that 50. If you would only do 8 sources, I'm going to start grading at 80. So you just can't put what you think you want to put. I really do require 10 sources. Also, the claim statement is required, and that will count for 10 points of the total grade. So if that's missing, there would be 10 points deducted. I don't grade the claim statements that harshly. I use it as an opportunity to give you feedback on the claim statement and to give you a little guidance with it. But if it's missing altogether, I do take off the full 10 points. Okay, so when you start each annotation, you're going to start with the citation. So like I said, this is a very academic document, non-essay type of writing. This is a technical document, if you think of it that way. So you're going to have the citation. Make sure that you do the hanging indent. So any line that follows the first line has to be indented. I may post a video on formatting that. It's not that hard, but there are a few buttons you can push in it, and the Microsoft Word will do the work for you to make sure that you have the hanging indent. You do need to have your citation in APA 7th edition. Okay, here, and I'm going to try to mark it with the pen and see if that works. All right, so here at the beginning we have Herbert London, the Dean of Journalism at New York University and author of several books and articles about the television industry, explains how television contradicts 5 commonly believed ideas. So here is our main idea right there. So it's telling us sort of what this guy included as the main part of the article. Herbert London is the author. It gives us a little credibility about who he is because he's the dean of a journalism school at New York University. And it gives us a little credibility about the fact that he's an author of several books. If you do not know that information, it's okay, but include the author, include the main idea, and then any other credible points about the source that you're doing. The only thing that I would say here, if I were grading it and this was yours, they did not identify the type of source. I'm assuming that it's a magazine article or a journal article or something like that, but it doesn't identify it, and I would want you to identify that. Here they go into, he uses several examples of events seen on television, such as the assassination of John Kennedy, to illustrate his points, and then it goes on to give some of the examples. That's when we get into a little bit of analysis there. So they've identified it, and then the student starts to analyze the point. Notice how they also include what's not included. So maybe that's showing in the analysis that the student feels like maybe more should have been included. It says he does not refer to any previous works on the topic. So that's a way of analysis showing something that's missing. The last sentence is, this source will support the claim that visual media is more effective than written text. So that's a short and sweet synthesis statement, but it does go directly back to the claim statement, and it shows how it proves or could support the claim statement. You are welcome to include a couple of sources that may not support the claim statement, because again, you're just showing me what you've researched. I would not have the majority of the sources go against your claim, because it's sort of showing that you couldn't find enough to support the claim. But if you have one or two in there that you reference as not supporting the claim, just make sure you explain why it doesn't, what was missing, because again, you're a college student analyzing research and you're trying to show me how you analyzed it. So again, your summary should be about 2 to 3 sentences, your analysis 2 to 3 sentences, and then your synthesis statement, just 1 sentence is fine. 2 is fine too, but anyway, there's a link here if you want to go and look at some more things there. All right, so just to reiterate, this is a 10-source assignment. You also have to include the claim statement at the top. In another video, I will go over a student sample just to show you some key points, some things that you want to include in your document. You want to use American Psychological Association formatting, which is good old APA, and use 7th edition. That's the newest and most current edition of APA. Basically, in a nutshell, you are going to show me how you can evaluate the research that you've done. Again, this is not an essay. So if you turn in a multiple paragraph essay to me, that's not the assignment. So make sure that you're turning it in properly. And you're going to, it will just be citation, annotation, citation, annotation, all double spaced. And you need to alphabetize your sources. So let me go back up here. So in this case, London, it would be alphabetized by L. So make sure that you're alphabetizing everything. That's just a common thing for English. If you do have any questions after you've reviewed all the materials that I've posted, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you in any way I can. This assignment's not difficult, it's just technical. So you just want to follow the protocols that I've outlined in the materials and in the video.